New Age of Heroes.
I wanna take you for a ride. 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 I wanna take you for a ride.
Chat room. You. Whoa, That's the wrong screen. Chad, how's it going? John, what's up? Saw the free Nat 20 came running. Gets them every single time. Yeah. So we got a couple things to check out, Chad. Interesting things to check out on the stream. Some pretty cool stuff. All right. So, chat room, I've gathered you all here today because we have two new updates to the Void for Daggerheart. And for those unfamiliar, the Void is where they post their playtest content for Daggerheart. That's where Darrington Press places all that stuff. This is essentially their version of Unearth Arcana. So there's some pretty interesting stuff to check out. Sorry, I gotta turn on the fan. It's 90 something degrees outside, right? But yeah, so it's interesting. We're gonna see what they have on offer for this new update right now. Pretty exciting stuff. Let's see here. It's up there. Gotta get everything downloaded. Boom, boom, boom. Reaction screen. Okay. Oh, is my camera facing the wrong way? Be like sometimes. Skadoosh. Yeah, so we have two new things that's a part of this update. So we have the Summoner class. So brand new class. With two new subclasses. We have Necromancy and Theurgy, I believe it is. All right. And then we also have updates to the Blood Hunter, which was released in the previous one. I think this is separate. So that's part of 1.5. Yeah, so that's all 1.5 content. So it's just these two things. Let's see here. So with the Summoner class, the description we have here is harness occult rites in your own lifeblood to summon entities from other realms of existence. Aided by the otherworldly beings they conjure, summoners seek new ways to unleash boons and banes upon the world. Very exciting. Also, hi, Sophie. I see you there. First time chatter. How's it going? Let's see here. So that's the description for that one. And then obviously Blood Hunter class, master the art of hemocraft and explore the power that can be unlocked in your own blood. Blood Hunters are skilled practitioners in relentless pursuit of new magic and the grim abilities waiting to be discovered within themselves. So we have Order of the Lycan, Order of the Mutant, and Order of the Spectre, which was formerly the Ghost Slayer. And so far I'm about to have experience with all three versions of the Blood Hunter. I've officially started playing Order of the Lycan, I've played an Order of the Mutant, and I've played the Order of the Spectre as well. So I've actually play tested all of these before. So I'm pretty excited to see what changes we're going to be looking at for this. First things first, though, let's check out this new class, the Summoner. It's pretty exciting stuff. So they're going to use Blood Domain and Splendor. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the Splendor Domain, this is just going to have the blood cards. I believe Splendor is what is used by, is it clerics use it? Hold on. Yeah, this is what clerics and wizards use. Okay, so there's some very powerful abilities in there. So that definitely leans towards wanting to be more of a support type. Hold on, let's see. Try. There. Yeah, I want to have everything pulled up on the side with Demi playing because I want to make sure that they can check out rules and other stuff change. Okay, summoner. So we are looking at traits, suggested traits. Okay, these are the take the regular stuff. Start. Something should tell you your base or your starting. Starting stats. That's odd. It's not there. Okay, no, evasion starts at 10. Gotcha. The breaks there. Well, that's fine. So your evasion starts at 10, which not bad. It's higher than some. Let's see here. So class feature. You can summon otherworldly entities, fate spirits, and other entities from your subclass. Each entity is associated with a summoning circle below. Mark a stress to summon a number of entities equal to your tier and add them to the appropriate circles. You can hold a total number of entities equal to your level. Summoned entities stay within very close range, can perform, let's see here, you can perform harmless tasks within that range and cannot be targeted. If a task requires an action roll, make a spellcast roll to command the entity. So first circle, Fate Spirit. After an adversary within very close range makes a successful attack roll, you can command a Fate Spirit to force the adversary to re-roll the attack. Then the spirit disappears. Wow. Wow, that's pretty powerful. It's free re-rolls for the cost of stress. Wait, their class feature doesn't use free hope to activate? Or no, the class feature is different feature. Okay. Yeah. That's for one of them. Okay, that's class. Okay. So their hope feature is aid of the spirits, spend 3 hope to conjure otherworldly aid, distribute 2 hope among 1 or more other PCs within far range, and you clear a stress. Whoa. Distribute 2 hope to as many PCs as you want within 100 feet, and you clear stress for spending 3 hope. That's ridiculously powerful. Okay. When you have hope features like this, it makes other ones like the sorcerer just needs a rework at this point, because the sorcerer's volatile magic is spend 3 hope to re-roll damage dice. Like, what are we... The level ups are very powerful. And also too, looking at this class feature, since it's marketability and it's equal to your tier, that's another thing where it's like when you multi-class into something like this, that ends up making it pretty powerful. Because you don't have to rely on anything that requires a certain number of levels within the class. You just pick it up and gain a bunch of benefits. That's also part of what makes Druid such a powerful multi-class dip, is because nothing requires you to commit a certain number of levels in order to get something really rewarding. But let's see here, suggested traits. Let's do the knowledge. Okay, so knowledge seems to be your spell casting. Okay, there's your suggested armor thresholds. Knowledge is going to be okay. And these are all level up options that we know of. Okay, and these are the domain cards. Where are the sub? Am I missing? Wait, just the subclass. Okay, so these are okay. This is the information subclasses. Okay, so what we're looking at was the class feature for necromancy. Okay, or no, just the base class feature. This is the subclass feature. Yeah. Okay. Second circle, shambling corpse. You can summon shambling corpses using your second circle. Hunger of the grave. Make a spell cast roll against a target within far range. On a success, your shambling corpses move to attack that target, dealing 5 physical damage each for each shambling corpse. Before returning to you, 1 shambling corpse then disappears. When an adversary within far range marks its last hit point, this is Grim, kind of like minions. Yeah, when an adversary within far range marks its last hit point, you can summon 1 shambling corpse without marking a stress. Okay. Third circle, ghosts. You can summon a ghost using the third circle. When you have any ghost summoned, your evasion gets a +1 bonus as they swirl around you in protection. This is with their specialization. So this is the next level. Spectral Terror. Make a spellcast roll against a target within far range. On a success, one of your ghosts flies to that target to scare it, causing it to mark a stress, then the ghost disappears. Not the best. Not the best one. Then the Mastery unlocks you the 4th circle, Death Knight. You can summon 1 Death Knight at a time using your 4th circle. When you succeed on an attack with the roll with hope, you can instead succeed with fear, causing your Death Knight to rush the target and add 2d12 to the attack's damage and then return. When you take severe damage, the Death Knight takes 1 of its hit points instead. Death Knight is pretty cool. Yeah, Death Knight's pretty cool. For it being a mastery ability, I don't know if it's that strong. It could probably be a little bit beefier, but it's pretty good. I mean, you can't deny the utility. I need to look back up here again. So, because I need to look at how these things are summoned again. So, I can't get over this spend 3 hope and give everyone in the party 2 hope. That's so busted. That is so broken. Let's ignore that for a second. Okay. And because I wanted to look at how do you summon these things again. So you get 4 circles over the course of. You can summon otherworldly entities from your subclass. Each entity is associated with a summoning circle below. Mark a stress to summon a number of entities equal to your tier and add them to the appropriate circle. You can hold a total number of entities equal to your level. You can hold a number. Summon entities stay within very close range and perform harmless tests. Within range, and they cannot be targeted. If a task requires an action roll, make a spell cast roll. One. It says distribute 2 hope among 1 or more PCs within far range. And you clear a stress. Right, so you distribute a total of 1 or more, 2 hope to 1 or more PCs. 2 hope. Okay, gotcha. That's still really good. that's still basically They should have worded it differently. Yeah, they definitely should have worded it differently, but that's still really good. That's basically prayer dice that you can keep generating over and over again. Essentially. Especially if you don't. It will depend on how many of their abilities will require, spinning a hope to get some good stuff. But that's really good. Clear stress for a hope and give 2 hope to you others is pretty much it. Yeah, that's really good. Especially for a spellcaster. And a lot of spells, well, they'll either take hope or stress. I know a lot of the Splendor domains take hope to activate those abilities. It's essentially running into what Blood Hunter ends up getting, where it's like, oh, eventually you just become self-sustaining. you are self-sustaining. Adversary within close range. I think I'm trying to figure out what the exact number of entities is that you can hold. Talking Summoner. Yeah, this is interesting. I'm trying to figure out some of the wording. Some of the wording was a little bit confusing on how these initial abilities work. And yeah, it's very much interesting. Yeah. I don't want to have that knee-jerk reaction of calling something broken, but I'm just like, I think this is very easily stacks up very quickly because you just mark a stress to summon a number of entities equal to you. Okay, so let's say you're this 2nd level. Or no, let's say you're like 3rd level. You're tier 2. You mark a stress, you can summon 2 entities. So first circle, after an adversary within very close range makes a successful attack, command the spirit to force them to reroll. So I guess you designate a spirit for each circle, or can you designate multiple spirits for a circle? Means in the each entity is associated with a summoning circle below. Okay, so you designate what circle it's a part of. Got it. That's why some of them, like the Death Knight, have a restriction of you can only summon one of it for the 4th circle. But if you have it based on level, you could take just a level dip at like level 5 into this class and still have up to 5 spirits that you can summon. It's kind of the druid situation where you could just take a dip and still be just as powerful as someone who spent their whole career starting out as a summoner. You could just take a multi-class dip. But let me keep going. Let me take a look at the next subclass. Theurgy. All right. And all these use knowledge. Okay. 2nd circle. Instead, you get an angel. You can summon angels using your 2nd circle. Angelic presence. While you have any angels summoned, you have advantage on presence rolls to influence others as the angelic power around you inspires awe and fear. Then Hopeful Strike. When you succeed with hope on an attack, you can command 1 angel to deal an extra d10 of damage to the target. Okay, then the angel disappears. Interesting. That's really cool. That's really strong because just having that, you can be a little party face. Even as a knowledge caster. It's pretty interesting. Even if you don't want to use it to damage an enemy for that, an extra D10, and eventually as you move on, that D10 is going to be like, what are we doing? D10's nothing of damage, I guess. But just having that there for advantage at all times on presence rolls. It's really good. Okay, specialization. Let's see what happens when you get specialized. Third circle, Archangel. You can summon archangels using your third circle. Cool. Divine Commander. While you have any archangels summoned, the extra damage of your hopeful strike is a d12 instead of a d10. Okay. Heavenly Aid. You can summon an archangel to do one of the following. Fly you or an ally within very close range to a location within far range. Help an ally within close range without spending hope. Whoa! Then the archangel disappears. Oh my god. You slap the demigod transformation on someone, and then you just mark a stress to summon the archangel. It goes out, and then it gives them a d10 for free. Sheesh. And this isn't one, you can have multiple. You can have multiple entities within, have them summoned. All right, so let's say we're level 5, right? Because this is when we would take that specialization. We're level 5, we're in combat. We mark our stress. And then we can summon up to how many equal to our tier. Okay, so we can summon 3 entities. You can hold a total number equal to your level. Okay, so we can summon 3. If we wanted to mark 2 stress, we could to have the 5. But let's say we wanted to mark just the 1 stress. We could have. Wait, do I have edit PDF? Draw? Yeah, let's draw. So we can have. You could like write down the number. You have 1 in the first circle, and then 2 in the second. And you could just be like, I'm just keeping this here for advantage at all times on my presence rolls, right? And my archangel is what I really use in combat for utility purposes. I haven't even gotten into the spell casting. I already know you have stuff like Bolt Beacon, right? Or Beacon Bolt, or whatever it is. So I can have my archangel fly to you or an ally within very close. So it's within 10 feet to a place that's within 100 feet. Yeah. So, and then the archangel disappears. So positioning matters really, really badly. Right, there's an enemy so far away that we can't reach. He's at like a sniper's tower. I can spend, right? I can spend one of these, go back down to 1, send that teammate all the way over there, and have them pop off. And I still have 1 extra. If things get desperate and I need the damage, I can roll an attack, cast a spell, hit, spend this archangel, right? We mark that out. And then I'm dealing a d12 damage. Damage isn't great. The damage isn't great. This reminds me of the war mage for wizard. I think we could buff up the damage a little bit. Now, I don't know what would be reasonable, but I know it's like with the war mage, it goes from like a d10 extra damage when you roll with fear, then 2d10 with fear. Maybe it could go up like where you're rolling more dice, because a d10 to a d12 that's negligible. I don't think that's very strong, especially since if this is if you want to sweeten the pot to make people use this for anything other than just advantage on presence rolls, you're gonna need to bump up that damage. You're gonna want to bump up that damage, big fella. Yeah. You're gonna want to bump that up. You know? Maybe that's just me. Okay. Here we go. Throw all this crap. Button up there. Yeah, let's bump up those numbers, big fella. Let's I want to see something. Let's see something. Okay. All right, let's look at this last one. Fourth circle, divine manifestation. You can, oh no, that's the second and third circle. Yeah, but the same thing would still apply. And then you still have the first circle that's still there for the first circle. Free rerolls. Yeah, you get a free reroll no matter what for your first circle. That's still going to be huge. Forcing your enemy to reroll is really good. Okay. Let's see. Divine manifestation. You could summon a divine manifestation at one divine manifestation at a time using your fourth circle. When you summon a divine manifestation, place 3 extra hope die on this card. When you make an action or reaction roll, you can roll and expend 1 hope die from this card along with your normal hope die and use the hope die with the highest result. When there are no dice left on this card, the divine manifestation disappears. Okay. It's basically 3 free rerolls. That's pretty good. It's interesting. Comparing the two off of first reaction. I feel like you're definitely getting more utility out of this one. I could be wrong. Make a spellcast roll against it. Scare it. That one's not good. That ability, I don't like that ability. Severe damage, that's good. You succeed with a whole fear, gives them 2d12. When you succeed on attack roll with hope, you can instead succeed with. That's my problem. They had something similar like this to the War Mage. And intrinsically, mechanics where you can choose to take the fear instead on a roll just doesn't work in Daggerheart because it's too selfish. Where, sure, at level whatever super duper high level, you will get an extra 2d12 damage. That doesn't matter. 2d12 damage is not going to make a difference for those thresholds we're probably going to be dealing with. Like, and there's so many other abilities that you could do and weapons you could use to get much higher numbers. The problem is when you choose to do something that automatically turns something into fear, you screw over the entire party. Because you will end up in a scenario where instead of the rest of the team getting to keep going and deal more damage or provide more utility, you're saying, I want to do 2d12 extra damage, and then the DM gets to attack you all 3 to 5 times. Fundamentally, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Because it's just not worth the risk. And I'm glad they changed that with the War Wizard, right? I love getting my extra damage on fear, so it doesn't feel as bad for rolling with fear. But also, too, I think these sort of abilities should have a caveat that also includes you gain that extra damage when you crit. Because why don't I get rewarded for critting with this ability? Like my War Mage ability for getting an extra 2d10 on fear, I hardly ever get it on an attack, right? There's so many class features, hero features, all that sort of stuff that, you know, can alter a roll from hope to fear and all that sort of, I mean, from fear to hope. So I'm like, why not also let these abilities happen on a crit as well? So it automatically applies and they're getting even more damage benefits out of it. I think a crit counts as a success with hope. So would it technically work? I don't know. But I feel like that would be more interesting than letting these abilities kind of sit there. You know? I think I've not seen a single ability thus far in Daggerheart where it has been of benefit to your team to roll with fear. Or to elect to roll with fear, specifically. Like the damage and features just normally don't really up. You know? I could be off base with this, but I don't know. I just don't like these sort of features. Because you're inevitably just screwing over the team for negligible damage. Let's see. Spellcast roll against target on attack 5 damage for Shambler. And then you can hold 1 equal to your level. So I mean that card does get stronger as you move up. Who has hurt you, Daniel? No, but that's my thing though. It's like it's not more so of like how difficult the challenges are in combat we're facing. It's like the game puts such a heavy emphasis on you better not miss and you better roll with hope or that team, your team will be screwed. Like there's such a it's interesting because I know it's like everyone's been like, oh no, this is the game for role players and all that sort of stuff. This isn't the game for crunching. But genuinely, like there is a lot of pressure I feel like I've seen at the table sometimes where people are like scared to do mechanics or move or do anything because they're like, dude, everyone's gonna get blasted if I mess up. Hi Sophie, how's it going? Everyone's like, I'm afraid I'm gonna get blasted. So if I mess up once, and the whole team is gonna suffer for one mistake or one bad roll. Like it's it can be like a very large landslide of effects. I think Hunger of the Grave. I think that's an interesting ability that gets better as you keep leveling up because the number of zombies you can have on that card, the capacity for them increases. Because is it the number that you can hold on a circle, or the number of entities you can hold total? You hold a total number of entities equal to your level. So I mean, if you wanted to do something ridiculous, you could have, you know, at level 10. 10 zombies or 10 spirits. Yeah, 10 zombies on your second circle. And then just deal 50 damage. just have them do 50 damage. If you wanted to really get silly. That is an option. I think I really love the Death Knight as a final mastery. I think it's really cool. However, I think you get the most utility out of Theurgy. I don't really think you can beat the value. Wait, hold on. Let me choose the color red. Follow the red circle. I'm a YouTuber. I'm a content creator. Follow the red circle. Yeah, I think Theurgy gives you the most bang for your buck. It's because the little, while you have any ghost, you have a +1 to your evasion. Like, they're doing nice things with these, but they're not great. And I think all of these abilities here pair super well with the fact that you're giving out hope to everyone. You have access to the Splendor domain. You can fly your friends across the map. You're basically Mr. Worldwide, aka Pitbull. You're giving yourself advantage. You automatically give enemies disadvantage. You're and then you also dealing extra damage. It's not great extra damage, but it is extra damage nonetheless. So yeah, I think the Theurgy is the better subclass. But I do think Grim Harvest is yeah, I think Hunger of the Graves in this whole entire second best. I think there's a lot of there. Okay, so we got a rework to the Blood domain, which is going to be a part of it. And just to remind everyone, real quick, just to remind everyone of what you're getting with Splendor. Don't do this to me. It's fine. It's fine. No, plane. It's fine. Demi plane. It's fine. It's fine, Demi plane. It's okay. This never happens ever. You're doing wonderful, Demi plane. Great. You're great. You're wonderful. Anyways, that's the tagline. Oh, Demi plane. It's great. Through gritted teeth. Oh, this is the best. Let me see here. Ew. Oh, we can check out the domain. Yeah, just a reminder of what we're getting with Splendor. All right, we're getting Bolt Beacon. We got damage stuff, healing spells, reassurance, more stuff to help out your team. Final words. You're speaking with the dead. Again, generating hope all the time. More healing. More stuff to be good at conversation, divination. You have so many things. You also get Smite. Demi playing is fine. Keep in mind, if you wanted to make yourself into like the Death Knight, you could do it. Like, you could do the Dark Paladin build, like a Oathbreaker build. Doing this, you could be this frontliner, heavy armored, resurrecting the dead and controlling their souls, or you could be like this alternate to the Seraph. there's a ton of stuff that you can do, and not to mention, yeah, like you're just getting a bunch of stuff, and really, really powerful, uh, game-changing spells that let you control the flow of the field. This domain alone, being paired with the abilities that you will get with your class and subclass, yeah, you're gonna be that guy in the field. You are that guy. You are utility incarnate. In certain ways, I think this will be rivaling Seraph and Druid when it comes to support. These are pretty solid. But now let's see how this is all going to pair with the Blood Domain revamps. Blood Spike. This spell was gabagool. It costs like a bunch of stress the first time, and I was like, this needs changes to be actually, worth using. Make a spellcast roll against a target within close range. Okay, I think it used to be far. I could be mistaken. On a success, spend a hope and deal a d8 plus 2 magic damage to the target using your proficiency, and the target marks a stress. If you have at least 3 hit points marked, the damage die is instead a d10. That's good. That's good. That's better than what was there before. There was stuff about like you spend a stress, and then if it hits, you spend a stress. You roll with hope. You instead mark. It was too much. It was too much, and did very little. This I like, and with this extra tidbit right here, it's rewarding you for having less hit points. That's solid. You're dealing more damage. Yeah, the damage die becoming a D10. Probably the plus 2 is fine. It's a first level, but I think that's much more solid. And I'm not a big fan though of the nerf to the damage range though. It would be nice if this was, especially with certain, you could run into certain scenarios where a day 1 card can still be valuable because of certain features about it. Like with Sorcerer in the Arcana domain, you still have some early game cards that are still solid, like Unleash Chaos, which is not great when it comes to damage with the D10s. However, it's far range, which helps out, and it's low cost when it comes to the resources that it takes to get it started. It's only a stress, right, to replenish it. So I think Blood Spike could be a signature spell or a signature card, just like how Power Through Pain was originally. Just increase that range. Increase that range. I think this is solid. I think this is a step in the right direction. Big improvement. Big improvement to what we've seen before. I like it. Okay, Lifeblood Talisman. This was incredibly strong. Definitely overpowered. Mark a hit point to conjure a talisman infused with your life essence. When the bearer of the talisman would take severe damage or greater, they can destroy the talisman and reduce the damage by 2 thresholds. The talisman otherwise disappears when you take a rest or cast the spell again. Oh. And it's still 0? Still a 0? Is this more broken? Hold on. Wait. Because if I'm not mistaken with the original, it was you mark a hit point, and then if whoever, and you could give it to another person, and whoever was wearing it marked 2 or more hit points, it would just reduce it by 1. But I think there was also another thing that like they had to spend hope, I believe. I think this is just an upgrade. But it has the caveat of it has to be severe damage. It has to be severe. I still think this is really good. Otherwise disappears if you take a rest. This is really good, and it doesn't have the caveat either of if you end up going back to full hit points, it disappears. I think this is buff. I think this is still strong. I still think this is something you would consider to be always in rotation. That's still really good. Yeah. Power Through Pain. This card, favorite card they've ever created in Dagger. But it was so broken. Because initially, whatever hit point, however many hit points you lost, you took that number and multiplied it by 2 and added it on to your damage. So if you were missing 1 hit point, add 2 extra damage. Oh, you're missing 2. Okay, now add 4. 3, we'll add 6. Oh, then add 8. And then you keep going, and then you keep going based on the number of hit points. It got so ridiculous that I got down to 1 hit point, and then like I was doing something ridiculous like plus 18 on a weapon attack. I love it. It's beautiful. It needed to be nerfed. Let's see if they nerfed it. When you mark a hit point, place a token on this card. On a successful attack, you can spend any number of tokens on this card to gain a d6 damage bonus on the attack for each token. This card can hold a maximum number of tokens equal to your spell cast trait. Clear all tokens from this card when you take a long rest. That's a nerf. That is a huge nerf. That's a pretty big nerf. In season 2 at the moment in Cogswell, and I'm loving Cade. Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's a huge nerf. I think theoretically you can still get some even higher numbers. So like, I mean, I could roll some d6s right now, right? So let's say you're at a level where you had 3 hit points marked, right? So normally that was going to give you, 6. Plus 6 to your damage. But that was plus 6 at all times for every single hit that you were doing. Okay, so now let's say you've lost 3 hit points, but your spell casting modifier at that level is a plus 3. So 3d6 is the max that you can have. Right? Rolled 9. So technically I did more. So I mean, you can build it up and get more, but so I think this is a nerf, but I think this is a nerf in the right direction because it's still going to push you to be more involved with other mechanics as a part of your kit. Because you could just take a multi-class dip into Blood Hunter and take Power Through Pain, and it would be the most broken card for any build because you would just focus on stacking the number of HP you have and get it to a ridiculously high number, and then just keep losing health and taking hits and all this sort of stuff to increase that damage number to a ridiculous amount. I think this is a proper balance. The only thing is, like, increasing your spellcasting trait is a bit difficult in this game. So regardless, it's going to be pretty low. But the passive aspect of accumulating these tokens is really good. Overall, I like it. This is a good nerf. This is a good balancing nerf. Branded Castigation. When you succeed on an attack roll against a target, you can mark a stress and brand them until you take a long rest or cast a spell again. You always know the direction of the branded target. If the branded target deals damage to you, you can remove the branded condition to make them mark 2 stress. Pretty solid. Mostly flavored, not much to it. Straightforward to the point. It's fun. When you, this is palpitations. When you or an ally makes an action roll to frighten or intimidate a creature within close range, you can spend a hope to give the roll advantage. On a success, the target marks a stress. Additionally, once per long rest, you can spend a hope to calm yourself or a willing creature within close range, letting the target clear 2 stress. Yeah, not great. Not great. Yeah, I see what they're trying to do with like the cost benefit of manipulating blood within someone's body in order to change the effects that you want to have on them. But it's just, dog, just pick something from the Splendor domain. Call it a day. If you're playing Summoner, just pick pick one of the healing cards and call it a day. It's gonna be much more straightforward and more useful. So yeah, that's a skip. But what can you do? Okay, Blood Puppet. Make a spellcast roll against an adversary within close range. Right, on a success, spend a hope. Do any of the following in the order you choose. You move the target up to close range from the current position. To move the target into dangerous terrain, you must spend another hope. Okay, so you can make them walk off a cliff for 2 hope. The target, and also, I mean, technically 1 hope if you rolled with hope. It would kind of like balance itself out. Okay, the target makes a standard attack against a target of your choice within the attack's range. I think that's solid. Yeah, I think that's solid. The wording on Blood Puppet originally was too vague, so it left a lot of weird interpretations and rules. I think this is much more clear. It's still useful, provides utility, and lets you do cool stuff. So I'm down with it. Burning Gore. I love this spell. I want it to do more damage. Selfish. Let's see here. Make a spellcast roll of a DC 13. On a success, mark a hit point to inflame a group's lifeblood within far range, making each target mark a hit point. If you have at least 3 hit points marked, each target marks 2 hit points. I like it. I like it. Yeah, that's good. I think it was before he's just mark a hit point and then roll to attack. But I like this. I like this. I like these caveats too. These mark, if you have at least 3 marked, you're getting an extra benefit. I like this. I think you might need to put this more on some of these other ones. Like, nothing in tier 2 has an extra if you have at least 3 marked. I think at least 1 card per tier should have something that does an extra benefit based on you missing hit points. In my opinion, I think that's really cool and it's unique to this class. That is a nice feature. I really like that. Grizzly Harpoon. Pretty expensive spell for like the stress and all that sort of costs originally. So make a spellcast roll against a creature within far range. On a success, mark a stress to throw a conjured harpoon of magic blood at the target. Deal a d10 magic damage using your proficiency. Then you can pull yourself into melee range with your target or pull the target within melee range with you. Alternatively, if you use the target on an unheld object or terrain within far range, make a spellcast roll DC 13. On a success, you pull the object to you or you pull yourself to the terrain. I love that. Perfect. This right here, this second paragraph, this is what I wanted as an update to this spell, because I love the idea of this spell of like you're whipping around Spider-Man style, harpoon style, whatever you want to do, like being able to be mobile across the battlefield using your blood is sick. But I believe the original wording was no matter what, you had to mark that stress. Now, if you're just targeting an object, or you're just targeting an object or terrain, it's not going to cost you stress. And I like that. Pull the chandelier down. Whoosh. Awesome. Get to the top of that ledge. Amazing. Just have to meet that DC 13 and you're flying 100 feet. 100 feet. That is really cool. I love it. And it only costs 1 stress. This is great. This is great. I would build a whole character around just using this because it's such a fun and cool domain card. And then you mix that in with the mobility that you can get from your specifically with Summoner, that you can get with your summons, like the Angel one. Gosh, I'm really liking it. I'm really liking it. Weave the Flesh. Okay, once per long rest, you can mark a hit point to clot, suture, and fortify others with your own lifeblood. Each willing creature within very close range clears a hit point and an armor slot. Huh. Not before it was probably a stress. Armor slot is interesting. Huh. Because there's not a lot of abilities that restore armor on the go. And that's for... That's for marking a hit point. It's niche, but it's not bad. Do you think they'll add the Summoner to the character creator in Dippy Plane soon? Is it not in there? Is it already in there? Let me see. Pop up, please. Sorry, Chad, I have to open this up. Go. There's spoilers. Just in case there's spoilers for shows that I'm not supposed to reveal. Yeah, it's not in yet. Hopefully they'll add it soon. So let me check Cade's character sheet. I don't believe Cade's stuff has been up. Like Bloodhunter and Witcher there. Yeah, because those were there previously. Yeah. No, none of this content's there yet. Hopefully it should be there soon. Yeah, because I just checked my character sheet for Cade, my Bloodhunter that I play in Bidden. And he hasn't been updated yet. Which actually I appreciate in Demi playing. Hold on. Demi playing, if you could hear me. If there's ever an update to Daggerheart content, can you find a way to stop automatically updating people's character sheets with it? Can you do that? That would be great. Because like when you're trying to load up your character and continue from where you left off in your current campaign, and then everything changes overnight. It's not fun. I don't know what we can do on the back end there, but if we can fix that, that'd be great. That'd be amazing if we could fix that. I remember that happened in season 1. Yes, it did. I walked into episode 2 with an entirely different character. Okay, that'd be, if we can fix it, that'd be great. That'd be great. But hey, no rush. No rush. Let's see here. Leave the Flesh seems fine. Nothing to write home about. The only unique thing that I do like is that you can repair an armor slot, but again, it's only once per long rest, so not the best. And the only benefit that you get from it is that it is a one stress. Okay, number 5, Vicious Form. Mark a stress to place a number of tokens equal to your spellcast trait onto this card and transform into a pool of blood. Remove a token for each time you make an action roll or take damage. You drop out of this form when you remove the last token from this card. On blood form, you gain resistance to physical damage and can slither through any space a liquid can traverse. That is so sick. What? Oh my god, you turn into Ivan Ooze from the Power Rangers movie. You're telling me I can turn into Ivan Ooze, dog? That's sick. Chat, we're winning. Hold on. Hold on, chat. You telling me y'all don't remember Ivan Ooze from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie? You can turn into a pile of goop. Oh my gosh. My Ivan Ooze build is coming to a YouTube video near you. The Ivan Ooze summoner build. This is what the fans have been really wanting. This is what everyone's been waiting for, Okay. Let's see here. Chat, you got ads coming in on Twitch. Watch out. Let's see here. You drop out of this form and remove the last token. That's cool. I really like it. That's fun. Parasite of the Will. Make a spellcast roll against an adversary within close range. Once per rest on a success, mark a hit point to infect the target with a tiny magical bloodworm. Presence rolls against the infected target have advantage. When the infected target makes an attack roll, you can spend a hope to give them disadvantage. The infected condition lasts until you take a rest, or you sacrifice the bloodworm to make the infected target mark a hit point. Whoa! Whoa. That's huge. Infecting an opponent with that parasite and then just continuously giving them debilitating effects if you have the resources for it. I could see that being pretty useful. It's pretty resource intensive, but could be pretty useful. And you just got the free damage that you can activate at any moment to automatically mark an HP. Bloodbind. Make a spellcast roll against an adversary within close range. On a success, mark a stress as you slow the target's vitality. The target is temporarily restrained and vulnerable. Each time the target is spotlighted while either of these conditions persist on them, the target marks a stress. That's really powerful because then the GM would have to The GM would have to spend 2. They'd have to spend 2 fear to get rid of that condition. That's strong. That's strong. Lifelink. Make a spell cast roll. DC 14. Once per rest on a success, you conjure a magical tether between yourself and a willing target within close range that lasts until the end of the scene. When either tethered creature would mark a hit point, the other tethered creature can mark a hit point instead. That's really good. Blood Touch. While 4 or more of the domain cards in your loadout are from the blood domain, gain the following benefits. You gain a hope when you take a major or greater damage. That's good. Oh, that's really good. And then when you make a spell cast roll, you can spend a hope to gain a bonus equal to the number of hit points you. Oh. Oh, that's okay. Interesting. The souped up. Little bonus right there. Vampiric Strike. When you deal major or greater damage to an adversary within close range, you can mark a stress to clear a hit point. No. That's a huge nerf. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. I could be wrong, but let me check. Okay, hold on. So when you make a successful attack roll against an adversary and cause them to mark 2 or more hit points, you can spend a hope, clear a hit point or stress. Deal major or greater damage to an adversary within close. You can mark a stress to clear a hit point. I think this is a nerf. It's just like between a nerf and a side. Because no, this is a nerf. Because before you could spend a hope to clear a stress or clear a hit point. The 2 resources you use extensively within Summoner and Blood Hunter more specifically. You are using those all the time. And I think Vampiric Strike is one of the best abilities because it helps balance out such a resource intensive class like Blood Hunter, which doesn't come with the Splendor domain. It comes with I believe the Blade domain, which is even more stress intensive. We have so many things that require you to mark a stress. I don't think we need another ability that requires us to mark a stress in order to gain back another resource. having one ability that grants you back either or, I think works. Because it's just you and it restores one resource. I don't like that change. This is probably my least favorite change. Because I think this ability very much balances out this class. It makes it much more approachable. And I still wish that this was a level 3 card. This should be a level 3 card. Because all these things are so resource intensive. Every single thing is resource intensive. And they know this. That's why so many cards cost 0 or 1 or 2 is the max that we've seen so far. Because everything is super resource intensive. I don't like that change. I'm going to be very strongly advocating for this to be reverted back, because I do not think that is healthy for classes that rely so heavily on this, and I have a way around it. Like, you spend armor slots all the time as a guardian. That's why the guardian gives you an ability to spend 3 hope to regain some of your your armor slots. If you are playing as a class where the intent is for you to by yourself, bleed yourself dry and spend your own hit points all the time, spend your stress all the time as the resource for your abilities, within the kit, there should be a fundamental way to replenish that. Either early on in the domain or as a part of the classes. Now, Summoner gets a little bit more leeway because they get access to the Splendor domain, so they can pick a card that's obviously going to be better than Vampiric Strike very early on to remove and alleviate some of that stress. Although not too many, because some of the healing spells in Splendor at the beginning only let you target other creatures, not yourself. So I feel very strongly that Vampiric Strike should be moved up as a part of the kit in these things. And then, like, I legit think you should replace, I don't know, Palpitations or Blood Puppet, and then pump them up like crazy and make them stronger. Maybe increase the number of hit points that they can use, or make this like the premier healing spell or resource management spell for the class. That's like, oh man, this is so good. This helps you be a part of the team in that. Still not a fan of this. Not at all. Revert this back to what it was before. I don't think this is a good change. Okay. Vital Ward. Choose the physical or magic damage type and make a spell cast roll 15. On a success, you trace a very close circle of blood on the ground around you that grants a creature of your choice inside of it resistance to that damage type. The circle lasts until you take major or greater damage, move outside the circle, or cast this spell again. Like, if you're fighting a mage who's stationary slinging spells, sure. But you can't move outside the circle, and you can't take a lot of damage. I think this is a bad spell, or bad domain card. Bleeding Tree. Once per long rest when especially for level 8? No, absolutely not. Not for level 8. Bleeding Tree. Once per long rest when an adversary within close range is defeated, you can cause their body to erupt with a twisting, veiny tree that oozes life force. Place a number of tokens on this card equal to your spellcast trait. A PC within melee range of the tree can spend a token from this card to siphon life force from the tree and clear a hit point. Yeah, that's good. it's basically free. That's pretty good. Yeah. No notes. That's a strong domain card. Icker Wave. Mark a hit point to make a spell cast roll against all targets within close range in front of you. On a success, deal d10 magic damage using the number of hit points you have marked instead of your proficiency. On a failure, you'll have and it's only close. No. Either bump the range up or make it D12s. I don't know. And you have to mark a hit point to make the spell cast roll. See, stuff like this. And then the reward don't be matching up. I can't approve of this. This is no, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. You have more powerful things down here that you can upcast, basically. Or will be stronger as you move. Not a fan. Make a spell cast roll against a target within close. On a success, spend a hope to mark the target with a magical glyph that causes them to bleed profusely. Until the glyph fades, damage the target takes is increased by 1 threshold. A glyph fades when you take a rest, you cast a spell again, or the target takes severe or greater. Well, when you're getting this card at level 9, so you're fighting in-game enemies who are going to have high damage threshold. Overall, I could see the benefit as that regardless of the damage you do, it's going to have more of a bite to it because of this ability. But if you're increasing the damage by 1 threshold, does that automatically activate the severe or greater damage? I don't think it. I'm not in love with it, but I don't hate it. But I would like to see what the other options are. Like if this made it to final print, like I wouldn't. It's better than Icker Wave, but I'm not like doing backflips over Glyph of Hemorrhage. Okay, now we're in level 10. These are the big boys, the big guns, the big ones. Let's see what they got. Your wounds seal into into armored scabs. When you mark 2 or more hit points from an attack, clear an armor slot. All right. Yeah. Level 10. At this point, other people are shaping reality, I guess. Make a spellcast roll against an adversary within close range. Once per rest on a success, roll a number of d6 is equal to the number of hit points you've marked, and you can mark an additional hit point to re-roll any number of these dice. The target marks a hit point for each result of 4 and higher. Okay, so let's say you were missing 4 hit points. You casted the spell. And then, okay, I rolled 4. So, only 1 4. Only one person. He only marked 1 hit point. Let's try it again. He's also assuming again. That's 2 6. Oh, and a 5. So that's 3 hit. It's all right. I mean, you'll have a lot of hit points by the end of your career, so you can mark a whole bunch to do that. And you know, you don't have to worry about damage thresholds, so that's nice. Overall, the rework to the blood domain, I think this early game, we've got some winners. We've got some winners. I think everything up until blood touched, we're cooking with gas. We are cooking with gas. A lot of great changes, a lot of implementation of rewarding people for investing in their spellcasting, spellcasting trait, rewarding people for investing in, if you have less hit points, you're going to get an extra benefit to this ability. I would like to see more of, if I'm losing hit points, or if I have 3 or less, they're marked 3 or more, I would like to see more things other than just damage. Get creative. I would like to see more than just damage being the benefit for playing into what this class does best, right? Spending hit points to gain different effects. This first half, solid, super solid, great changes, appropriate nerfs, some really solid buffs. I can dig it. Some very fun and creative things that are very well explained, but also give you a lot of leeway for being creative. However, from Vampiric Strike onward, we need to take another look at this. We all of this, you cannot convince me that these are high level abilities, right? Vital Ward, no. Bleeding Tree, I like Bleeding. Bleeding Tree's good. Bleeding Tree, good. Ichor Wave, no. No Ichor Wave, no. Scabrous, no. There's infinitely more interesting and engaging things happening at the lower levels than in the higher levels. And again, I implore the design team to take a look at Vampiric Strike in the original version of Spending a Hope. Like, this ability could really make this entire class come online. I love playing Blood Hunter. Blood Hunter is so much fun. It is probably up there with Wizard and Assassin as the most fun I've ever had playing Daggerheart. But like, the resource intensive nature of it is a struggle to manage. And that's coming from me, who loves like deep diving as much as possible into like the nitty gritty of how the system works. So I can't imagine how daunting this was going to feel for people who aren't as intensive about paying attention to what they're picking and taking, because there are not a lot of ways to balance this out. I think the blood domain is going to heavily work in the favor of the summoner more than it is going to work in the favor of the blood hunter, just because of the nature of how resource intensive all this is, right? But let me stop preaching about all this stuff. Just take a look though. Maybe there have been some changes to Blood Hunter that can make a big difference. And mitigate what they have to manage and make it more approachable for other players who aren't super metagamey, who aren't super crunchy, you know, and make it more approachable. Okay. Invasion starts at 11. See it. Okay, so Blood Maledict. Let's look at the original Blood Maledict, right? Spend 3 hope to target a creature within far range or in a vision from your Grim Psychometry. Until you finish a rest, take severe damage, or use this feature again. You have advantage on all action rolls against the target. Pretty solid stuff. Spend 3 hope when an adversary succeeds on attack roll within close range to make them re-roll with disadvantage. Let me read that one. Spend 3 hope to target a creature within far range or vision within your tree. Until you finish a rest, take severe damage, or use this feature again. You have advantage on all action rolls against the target. Spend 3 hope when an adversary succeeds on a close range to okay. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Okay. Let me show you. This is Royla, my wizard that I play in Bitten. Not this time. Spend 3 hope to force an adversary within far range to re-roll an attack or damage roll. Spend 3 hope when an adversary succeeds on an attack roll within close range to make them re-roll a disadvantage. Sure. Maybe it's a little too strong for all action rolls against a target. Maybe it's a set number. Maybe you set it like how a lot of these other things are. Maybe it's set to a number of action rolls equal to your spell cast rate, right? Maybe you want to shorten it a bit, right? And keep it ends too if you take severe damage, or maybe if you take major damage. Maybe it's just a little too strong. But this is something that plays into the idea that you are this hunter, you are this person who uses blood as a part of what you do, right? The blood is a part of it. You're rewarded for if they're in a vision from your Grim Psychometry. You're rewarded for using Grim Psychometry. Your other feature. Maybe it's because they buffed some other stuff. Let's take a look. Class feature, Crimson Right. Mark a hit point to enchant one of your active weapons with a bloodthirsty power until the end of your rest, or if you use this feature again. When you succeed on an attack with an enchanted weapon, it deals an extra d4 magic damage. This extra damage increases to 2d4 at level 2, 3d4 at level 5, and 4d4 at level 8. Is it Mike? Weapons that deal physical or magical damage. Point. Mark a hit point to enchant one of your active weapons. Until you finish your next rest, that weapon deals physical or magic damage. That's huge because the damage types do matter. It only deals an extra magic damage. Okay. Deal an extra d6 when you hit with it. Becomes a 2d6 at level 5 and a 3d6 at level 8. I think giving people more dice to roll early on is good. However, nerf. Grim Psychometry. Make a spellcast roll DC 12 to inspect a location within very close range. On a success, you have a vision of the last creature that committed violence there. Until you take a long rest or use this feature again, you have advantage on action rolls to track them or recall information about them. While inspecting a creature, a location, or object within very close range, make a spellcast roll that's a DC 12. Just a location. Okay. On a success, mark a stress to have a vision of the most recent violence involving the target. And until you finish a rest, you have advantage on any action roll or to recall lore about things in the vision. You have action rolls track. Aren't you already going to be able to do that if you have the branded castigation? Yes, you already know, which means you're already. I think this wording is better. I'm gonna say this is a better version. I think this version of Grim Psychometry is better, and it's less wordy. I think I prefer this version. Okay. Traits +1 instincts. Oh, and they have different ones recommended. So, okay, let's see what we've changed here. Order of the Spectre. Shadowed Grit. When you succeed on an action roll with fear, you can spend hope to clear stress. Interesting. Veil Walker, you can briefly slip into the realm between living and the dead. Mark a stress to move up to close range through creatures and objects. Ooh. Now that's good. That's a good chain. So that's a built-in resource to be able to manage your stress. Okay. And it's on a success with. All right. Let's see here. Specialization, Veil Stalker. When you use your Veil Walker feature, you can now move to a location within far range, and you have advantage on your next action roll you make in this scene. Pretty solid. Order of the Spectre. Horror Honed. You cannot be made vulnerable unless all your stress is marked. Ooh. Spectral form. Once per long rest, when you would mark your last hit point, you can mark a stress and enter your spectral form instead. On this form, you can move through physical matter and have resistance to physical damage. Additionally, when you would mark your last hit point, you mark a stress instead. You drop out of this form and your last stress is marked or clear a hit point. If your last stress is marked or clear a hit point. I can dig it. I can dig it, I think. Okay. Order of the Mutant. Mutagens. You employ mutagenic toxins created to enhance your abilities. When you finish a rest, you can drink one such toxin to gain its effects, which lasts until you finish your next rest. These effects include a +1 to a trait of your choice and a -1 penalty to a different trait of your choice, and your choice of the following benefits. Celerity. If you are restrained or vulnerable, you can mark a stress to end the condition on yourself. Durable. Increase your armor score. Your armor score increases by 2. Hunter's senses. You have advantage on action rolls you make. Track a creature, and you can see. So it kind of just negates the even need for grim psychology. There's still like the lore bit. Roleplay. It's really strong. Improve mutagen. When you choose a mutagen benefit, you can also include one of the following: Nerves of Steel. When you must mark a stress, you can spend 2 hope instead. Rapidity. Your evasion increases by 1. Iron Skin. Your severe damage threshold increases by a number equal to your proficiency. Volatile Toxins. You can choose 2 mutagen benefits instead of 1. If you do, mark a hit point that can't be cleared until you finish your next rest. Order of the Mutant. Mastery. Mastered mutagens. The trait bonus and penalty you get from your mutagens feature changes to +2 and -2 respectively. When you choose a mutagen benefit, your options also include Aether Blood. Ooh. Within your line of sight, you can see creatures and objects that are invisible, and visual illusions appear transparent to you. If a creature or object within your line of sight has been transformed by magic, you can see its true form. Fury. When you mark an attack roll, you can mark a stress to gain a bonus to the roll equal to your proficiency. Steel Flesh. Your major damage threshold gains a bonus equal to your proficiency. Okay, pretty good. I think some of these have been toned down, but I mean, this is still probably the best class, or best subclass, is you can just basically, for the most part, negate all the things that might be holding you back a little bit. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. Order the Lichen. Let's see here. Hybrid form. You can take a Lupin hybrid form. Mark a stress to into that form until your stress is marked or the scene ends. While in the form, you gain a D4 bonus to your actions. The Beast Within. You gain a hope while in hybrid form. You also mark a stress. When you gain a hope while in hybrid form, you also mark. Oh, because previously it was whenever you would gain a hope, you instead would gain a stress. But since your Order of the Lichen, now the werewolf transformation, it still lets you get the hope, but also take the stress. Good. That's a good change. Interesting. I love you. So this version, okay, so this version gives you an actual out to this. Because the weird thing about the way a werewolf is worded, it essentially does not end until you go into a frenzy. And it was kind of weird when I was looking at it, when I was picking Order the Lycan for my current character. And I was like, it's kind of weird that if I'm supposed to be the one who mastered using my werewolf form, why can't I control when it turns off? I get it not being able to turn it off when you don't have this subclass and you're just infected as a werewolf. Interesting. Order the Lycan specialization, Bestial Focus. Once per rest, you can place a domain card into your vault, then clear a number of stress equal to the card's recall cost. Whoa. The bonus die from your hybrid form increases to a D6? Whoa. On this form, you gain a D4 to your action rolls. Does that mean we no longer get a D10 from the wolf, or is this a D10 on top of? Confused. I am confusion. Once per rest. That's good. That's huge. That is actually huge. That is a built-in way to reduce it. The only thing of it is, you would have to choose, if you really want to get the most bang for your buck, you'd have to choose something from another domain. Because most of the time, the recall cost for a blood domain card is 0, 1, or 2. So you won't get a lot. You won't get a lot reduced. Kind of balances it out. So you'd have to choose something from your other domain for your class. Order the Lycan Mastery, Apex Hunter. The bonus die from your hybrid form increases to a D8. When you succeed with Hope while in your hybrid form, roll a D4. If the result is higher than your current number of unmarked hit points, clear a hit point. Regeneration. That's pretty cool. And then we got the domain cards. Hey, okay, so spell. YouTube comment. Interesting. There's steel. I believe this is a damage nerf. Or am I? Or Lycan, you get the transformation, you have painted form, and apply that form's bonus die to your ability. Strength rolls. Full form. Huh. Let me double check that. Sure. It looks like they've altered the damage die, like they've severely nerfed the damage die from your wolf form. Let me see what's going on. The evasion buff is nice. Let's see. When the GM gains of fear, nice. Well, you can mark a stress to gain a hope. Oh, that's a massive nerf they did there. Yeah, that's a massive. When you succeed on an action roll, with you can spend a hope to clear stress. But that's a nerf technically on like a large scale, but it's actually low key a buff. It's a nerf and a buff. It's a side grade. It's neither nerf nor buff. I'm neither Goku nor Vegeta. It is because really it is more beneficial for you to be able to clear stress than to gain hope as anyone who uses the blood domain whatsoever. So yeah, spend to hope to disappear and reappear next to creature or corpse within 4 range. You have advantage on the next. Yeah, marker stress. That's way better. That's way less expensive. Yeah, that's way better. I like that a lot. This is way. Oh man, this is such a mess. This is such a mess of really good changes and what were they thinking? I don't understand what's happening. Like I'm so conflicted all over the place. But let me take one last look at this right here. So you would apply on your wolf form. You can apply your werewolf's bonus damage to agility and action rolls. So what does control the beast give you now? Beast within to get a hope. Form. Bonus to your action. So it's basically you get a D4 on every. Yeah, that puts it in a weird spot. So it's like you have your werewolf transformation that's supposed to give you a D10. Wait, but that's the thing. It doesn't. That says you gain a Lupin hybrid. This you gain the werewolf transformation. So there is no werewolf transformation card. It does not say you gain the werewolf transformation. It just says you gain a hybrid form. So it just completely removes the transformation aspect. Which could hint that they're completely getting rid of this version of transformation or transformation in general. I don't know. But just imagine anything involving the D10 that you normally would get. It's just don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You're good. Just focus on what it's presenting to you, which overall gives much more utility, but it removes the threat. Because unless you still keep, and it does not say that you keep the werewolf transformation, unless you can, there is no threat of the frenzy and the power that comes with that and the D20s of the frenzy. There's no, and the D10, it's like you're adding that extra beastly strength. You get a D4 to your rolls, but you're not getting like the advantage on like tracking, hunting. I guess you can get that from other parts of you. I don't know. I feel like they're there's a lot I really like about these changes that make it, like feel more functional. squeaky ass chair. But I don't know. A lot to love here. And the sacrifice is the damage. There's no frenzy. You're losing a whole lot of flavor, that's for sure. It's healthier. It's like they took out all the seasoning and gave you a lot of like broccoli and chicken and, you know, some nice grilled chicken, you know, a little garlic parmesan, you know. But they're like, hey, can't have that much salt. You can't have D20 damage dice for going into a frenzy. That's abusable. I get, yeah. At the end of this live stream, I was going to surmise my thoughts, but does hybrid mean transform into Wolfman instead of werewolf? Yeah, that's essentially what I'm getting. You're like taking aspects of the werewolf transformation to amplify parts of your kit at all times, though. That is the benefit. So, you know, that's kind of the benefit. Hold on. Let me check something. YouTube chat. Have you guys been commenting this whole time? And the comments haven't been showing up? There's no way. Chat room, explain. Explain, chat room, explain. It's weird. Oh my god. For Uber Eats. Just trying to click on my own stream. So I'll have to adjust that. That should have been showing. At the end of the stream, I was going to do like a summarization that'll be chopped up and put to another video, but I got to sit with this more. There's a lot of changes. And I don't even know how I'm supposed to fit all of this inside of a inside of the review thing that they're talking about. No way. They usually do soft move. Oh, there have been comments. I'm so sorry, YouTube chat. Goodness gracious. I usually do soft moves when my team succeeds with fear and don't even spotlight adversaries when they fail with hope, but change the environment into your favor or something like that. No way. Yeah, I gotta fix this chat. What the heck? Dang, I'm sorry, YouTube chat. I was unintentionally ignoring you because the comments weren't showing up on my multi-chat, which is always fun. But listen, overall, like I said, there's a lot to love, but there's a lot that like, it's like, what are we doing? I think Summoner is incredibly powerful. I think out the box, it is a very strong support class that has a lot of versatility and build variety that has the potential to, I think, be on par with Seraph, Bard, well, probably not as strong as Bard, but definitely Seraph and Druid as a support class. It's really good. I just have some nitpicks about the Necromancy one. I think the Necromancy one has some really, really weak class features. that are not very enticing. I think the circle mechanic is very interesting. I don't know if it's broken or abusable. I don't think it should be. But I think there needs to be an emphasis on making those abilities, those class features a bit beefier, a bit stronger, because you want to reward folks for sticking with the class. You don't want to end up in a D&D situation where it's better off like, dude, why don't you just, like, you know, where it's like you don't really gain any benefits from sticking with your class, because almost all the benefits of the class are given at the very beginning. That's kind of the problem that we have with Druid, where it's like anything can, you know, go into to Druid and be perfectly fine. Nope, what up? You know, it's a fascinating place that they've put everything in. I've got to sit on it a little bit more. I've got to reread things, compare things. The first half of the blood domain changes I really, really like. The second half, I am not a fan of at all whatsoever. I do not like the second half of those blood domain cards. The effects that are there, first off, they're just not as unique as anything in the first half, and do not provide enough utility to make the class more sustainable or provide anything unique to the classes. And then to keep in mind, it's classes that we're talking about here. These things are so resource intensive, but do not provide the benefit enough for doing so. And I think design wise, a lot of these cards could go even further with the precedent of if you were missing 3 hit points or more, you gain an extra feature. We could be pushing that more beyond just doing extra damage. Like, we could be doing some cool stuff mechanically, but we're leaving that on the table, right? There's a lot I got to dig into. I got to let this sit. I got to let this marinate in my brain for a little bit longer before I give a final conclusion. Chat it up with some folks. But I think this is a step in the right direction. One for Blood Hunter, and I think a really strong showing for a new class with Summoner. It's very unique. I like it. It's a support class. You're doing summoning, but it seems like you actually feel like you're summoning things, and all of them are unique and have different benefits. And then you can be simple or strategic with what you are summoning onto the field and what benefits and boons you want to give to your friends and banes to bestow upon your adversaries. There's a lot to dig into. There's a lot of fun builds and ideas that you can flow into. But we got to let that cook for a little bit, chat. We got to let that cook for a little bit, you know? But either way, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm digging it. I think these are steps in the right directions for a lot of these classes. These were some appropriate nerfs. Nothing is outright ridiculously busted, in my opinion. Some of the most outrageous things from the last Void drop are much more tame. I'm liking what we're seeing. And I think with this continued dialogue between the community and between the devs, I think this can be fine-tuned and be ready to go. Because at the end of the day, I think from my perspective as a player, as someone who loves playing this game, running this game, I think specifically with these two classes, these are getting more advanced. They're getting more complicated. And I like that. But I still think they need to be as accessible as possible to the average Joe walking in. People love playing necromancers in video games, right? In games in general. But so rarely do we get the fantasy fulfilled, right? And I think we can do that while still making it accessible, but still making it feel unique to what the class can do. I think Blood Hunter has the potential to be like my favorite class in the entire game. It just needs those tweaks to make it a little more self-sustaining. and not in the sense of negating ever having to use a team, but with the very domain alone that Summoner gets access to with Splendor, they can self-negate every single issue with the class. And there's some mitigation here and there that I'm seeing with the class feature, some of the class features for Blood Hunter. But I still think there's more that we could do to make the class feel better. Because there's also some changes. I'm like, what are we doing? Like with their hope ability? No. I'm just saying you can do better. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think like what could you possibly do? Like, because at the end of the day, I know I keep harping on the same point. I've been harping on this same point since the last time. But this ability right here, Vampiric Strike, I believe is the blueprint for how this can be done. Where it's like you're dealing damage and you can restore stuff. I think I'm going to say it. Take Vampiric Strike, buff it even more, and make it the 3 hope ability. Make it the hope ability. When you deal an attack, spend 3 hope, clear a certain number of stress or hit point, and restore hit point, or something like that. You know, something that makes the kit feel like a circle. I think that's when Daggerheart is working at its best. When whatever class you're playing, all the mechanics feel like they're in a symbiotic relationship. The cost of stress running into the cost of hope, and the cost of this, and the cost of that, and the cost of this. That's why I think like Wizard is like darn near close to like perfect. Right? Because at the end of the day, hold on, where is it? Not to do. But Wizard, right? All their abilities feed into one another, which feed into their class feature, to where he can still, if you roll whatever your strange pattern number is, can clear a hope or stress. They don't have any other ability built into their hope or their kit, right? That can automatically do that. But they do have this. And yes, they do have access to Splendor, so you can do a full healer Wizard. But what I'm saying is their kit keeps flowing into one another. And the Wizard's not even technically the healer class, but can still heal others and still has a kit that replenishes itself in a form of a cycle. And I think that's when these classes are working best. That doesn't mean your measly little Wizard with his 7 and 14 damage thresholds is going to be able to take on every fight by himself and doesn't need no team. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it feels comfortable to use the class, and it doesn't feel like you're deficient at what you're trying to do. Blood Hunter feels deficient. It feels anemic in certain places because it is so resource intensive. Every single thing you do involving the blood domain will burn through stress and HP. And that needs to be mitigated within the kit. Yes, you have stuff within some of the class features, or some of them are able to make that more manageable. But I think either bumping Vampiric Strike up to be a level 2 or 3 card is going to be more beneficial, or make Vampiric Strike, create a new level 7 card and make Vampiric Strike a part of their hope, right? Because anything, quite literally anything, is better than this. Anything is better than this. You know, like, I'm just saying, anything goes better than the forcing that reroll at disadvantage. Yeah, like, there's so much more we could be doing. But I'm gonna sit on this more. Maybe I'll hear some more opinions, speak with some more folks, and then come to a different conclusion. You know, either way, I'm excited, super excited to see what ends up coming next. And let me tell you, I'm going to make some Fallen Angel Death Knight thing for Summoner. It's gonna be sick. I gotta play test this immediately. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta get in there. All right? I gotta get active, chat. I gotta get active. But good stuff, chat room. Good stuff. I appreciate y'all being here for this little impromptu stream. There's a lot of you in here. Appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who showed up on YouTube. I appreciate everyone who showed up here, right now, for the Twitch stream. Greatly appreciate it, chat. All right, I gotta get going. I'm gonna see y'all tonight, playing some more Daggerheart. Okay, I'm going to be playing my Sorcerer Blood Hunter Werewolf Transformed Firekin over in Crit Hit Chronicles for Saga's Anima. So that starts up in literally a couple of hours. I'm taking a breather, and then we're getting right back at it, rolling some dice. I appreciate you all being here. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. I'll see you all next time. All right?
New Age of Heroes.
Peace.